And I assume everybody gets that pop-up that asks if they consent. And then you should get the little indicator top left that this is being recorded.
Yep.
Very good. Double checking that everybody's with us. We have Andrew Lee Cody is with us. Luke Olson is with us. Paul Wilson is with us. Mark Havens is with us. James Henningson is with us. And Charles Proctor is with us. I think those are all the people involved in the complaints or the panel. And then we also have board members. I believe we have Laura on. And we have James Henningson again is on the board. It means we're missing Ken, whose last name eludes me presently, and Jim Harris. Purcell, thank you. Are we missing anybody else? Brad Sims is also on from the board. Yep, he's here. So I think we're just missing Julie and Ken for the people who might want to be here. Does that sound right? Okay.
I don't know if they're actually coming. We didn't make it mandatory for the board.
I don't know either. So I'm ready to get rolling if everybody else is. Any objections to moving forward?
No objection.
Okay. I think we're here to field for the panel, which is Mr. Proctor, myself, and Mr. Wilson, to discuss and decide whether or not these three complaints are valid. One from James Henningson, one from Andrew Lee, one from Luke Olson, both of whom are named against Mark Havens. It's my opinion that the proper way to proceed here is to read through the complaint, and then we'll ask each of you in turn if there's anything further that you'd like to add other than what was already done on talk. As far as I know, the submissions on talk are the only written submissions that have been made. I don't know if they were sent in through email or otherwise. I have not been given any of those. So if something was sent in that is not on talk, you might want to fire up with it. But I have read through all that stuff. As far as I know, Mr. Proctor, Mr. have as well. So we should be fairly familiar with anything that was already laid out there. We'd be looking for new information here, I think. Does anyone have a preference that I read all three and then we discuss each one in turn, or do you want to read each one and then discuss?
I have a preference, I suppose. One at a time, please.
All right, we'll go ahead and start with the one at the top. Mr. Henning is filing a formal complaint against Mr. Havens for a violation of our anti-harassment policy. Do we mind if I summarize some of the longer content? No objections. I'll carry forward with that. Basically, Mark produced a video that he felt was in violation of items 5 and 6 of our harassment policy, which specifically state deliberate intention by words, gestures, body language, or menacing behavior. And item 6 is harassing, photography, or recording, including logging online activity for harassment purposes. Recommended solution on this is not part of what this panel's here to decide, so I'm going to leave that off. And is there any further information you guys wanted to add on that than what was already stated in talk?
This is James. What I would like to counter is some of the information that Mark has posted since in talk. Mark is fully aware that the recording does not have to be of me physically. It can be about me for that complaint to be valid. Mark is also aware what industry I work in and how damaging these kind of baseless accusations can be in that industry. And Mark is also aware that punishment can be, and judgment can be rendered on activities that take place outside of the space between two members. A recent example being the expulsion of Ricky Butch, who was off premises making threats against members of the makerspace and was expelled for that. It's not an item that's up for contention. Activities outside the space that take place on platforms not managed by the space that are about people at the space are entirely within the realm of our rules.
Alrighty. Anybody have anything else they want to throw in at this point?
Are you asking for more information about the complaint, or would you like a response to the complaint?
I'll accept either at this point. If we start getting crunched for time and it feels like we're going back over old data more so than we really need to, then I may curtail that. But we let James have his word on this point, so we'll let you have yours.
Well, as I mentioned in talk, slander requires a false statement, false spoken statement, damaging the person's reputation. Given that I judged James to have an anger and ego problem, it's my opinion and can't be held as a false statement. And this is actually kind of characteristic of the platform itself, which is predominantly negative in regards to other members of the makerspace. So in keeping with that type of culture, my response to James is mild in comparison, and kind in comparison, and thoughtful in comparison. The only difference is that I used video as a medium for transferring my information to the platform instead of text. And this was after he essentially, I wouldn't say requested, but he challenged me to interact with the community. Now, of course, he wanted to do it by his terms, but I decided to interact with the community on my terms, which apparently, well, I suppose that's a bannable offense in James's mind. But I will admit it was impactful, and that was the point, because I needed to change people's minds about things. I needed to address a serious situation about how the culture of this organization has been damaged, in part by James Henningson. And it's been ongoing for a long time. I mean, especially since the election started, and it's only heated up. Okay? This isn't civility. This isn't excellent behavior. Now, me confronting James, if I were at the space and confronted him in person and said the exact same thing, that's something that needs to happen when we want to resolve our differences, when we want to handle our problems, when we want to be better people. Okay? This isn't about slander. I was kind to James by not distributing this to anywhere except Discord. His peers on Discord, the same peers on Discord that's been essentially slandering me all these months, if not years now. Okay? We're not here for them. This isn't a retaliation towards them. This is to address a problem with James and make things stop when it comes to his behavior. And I hope that's what this does. This hearing won't change that attitude, and it won't keep me from posting YouTube videos. I'd rather post YouTube videos than have a membership at Dallas Makerspace, if it comes to it. And honestly, I can lead this organization without a membership. I think I've proven that already.
Okay. So your stance effectively is that you did not slander James despite his complaint that
That's correct.
that you did. Okay.
May I respond?
Sure, go ahead.
What he has done is an attempt to cyberbully and to intimidate by placing unfalsifiable facts, basically putting out questions in people's minds of things that don't exist. And he is right now threatening to continue that if we take action against him. He's doing it very passive aggressively, but it's a continuation of the threat. I work in an industry where digital reputation is entirely important to my career. And he is choosing this platform with closed comments because it is a place that he thinks he can get away with this. And he's saying, even if we kick him out, he's going to continue to harass me.
James, I have no reason to harass you. Okay? I just need the organization to be healthy. And you aren't contributing to the health of the organization. Now, that's my opinion, but I'm entitled to it, and I'm entitled to express it. And just because I am expressing my opinion about you, okay, and just because you happen to be in an industry that we share, I mean, honestly, you should have thought about that before you started misbehaving publicly, because you can be called out, and you will be called out, and it won't stop with me.
You will notice that there's nothing in his video that actually calls me out on any action other than saying I am angry and unaccomplished and I have an ego. He doesn't address any specific thing I've done. He simply states a bunch of insults. And that is my main complaint against him. This is not excellent behavior. This is the toxicity that he supposedly complains about on Talk, where he doesn't participate unless he's bullying, and on Discord, where he doesn't answer questions posted directly to them, or when he's called out on lies on Discord by the people he's lying about, just bails on it and makes a video with no comments. There's not much else to say about it. It's pretty obvious on the face what Mark's problem is.
Well, I'm going to have to respond to that too. I understand, James, that this has caused an emotional reaction, and I know it has provided you with a situation that put you at a disadvantage in this campaign, in this election. I mean, that is what we're doing, okay? We are fighting publicly. Now, I'm trying to do it in the most tasteful way I can. I didn't post this in a public place. I put it on a private channel. Okay, I made it unlisted. I did that as kindness to you. Okay, almost as if I just pulled you to the side and told you what you needed to hear. That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did, James. I didn't. This is not circulating on LinkedIn or Facebook or any of that stuff. But I could have.
Okay, I
didn't out of kindness to you.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and interrupt here. I think we've heard what we need to on this topic. Andrew, you had a question?
Yeah, I just had a question for Mark. So you said you could have pulled him aside and talked to him. Did you do that?
Andrew, you're not involved in this conflict. I suggest you wait your turn until we handle our issue.
Fair enough. Charles, I can see that you've unmuted. Did you have something to say, sir?
No.
Okay,
fair
enough.
I'm where the mute works.
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to double check. I do, from Paul and from Charles, is there anything specific you guys wanted to ask on this particular complaint? Or
This is
are
Paul.
we good? Yes, sir, go ahead.
In regards to, hold on, sorry, I need to pull it up. In regards to what you're saying, Mr. Havens, you are saying you deliberately chose to put it in certain areas to not harm James. By that, I interpret that as you believe it can be harmful. Therefore, even though you chose it to put it in supposedly some non-damaging areas, that is a violation of Article 5. You just said you deliberately did not put it somewheres that could be a damaging thing for James.
Potentially.
That is, yes, but it is still, you're still putting it out there. That is a specific choice of yours to put something out that could be damaging. And you just acknowledged that it could be damaging by you saying you chose to put it in a specific area.
Excuse me.
Let me finish. No. You got to talk. Nobody interrupted you. Now I'm done. Thank you. Andrew, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Paul. Mark, you wanted to respond to that? I'll give you 30 seconds on that.
Certainly. Yes, it's damaging to his emotional health, potentially, if it were to circulate all over the place. This was a kindness. This was not a public call out with all of his friends and everybody watching. This was in a very specifically chosen place full of toxic comments, history of abuse. The purpose was to put a stop to the abuse taking place on that platform. And it was effective. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mark. Charles?
Nothing to say.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Are we ready to move on to item 2 then? I think that we are. Any objections on that? Let me get to it. Item 2 was from Andrew Lee Cody. The complaint was, Mark has a history of harassing DMS and trolling, continues to engage in non-excellent behavior. He lists a few examples of those actions, including some false statements, et cetera, et cetera. A weird stalker-like video was the next major point, and I believe the actions are a violation of our code of conduct and anti-harassment policies. There's also a mention of a stalker-like video, but the video was not presented as to be differentiated from the one that James did present. Recommended solution against permanent expulsion. We are not talking about that at this panel. That is for the board to decide. Andrew, I'm going to let you talk first.
Sure. Yeah, I can link to the specific video if you want. I don't know. I guess I forgot to do that. No, I think all the points that are listed out, pretty much stand for themselves. There's a history and a pattern here of Mark sort of changing the past to make it seem like he's the one who has been wronged in a lot of stuff. And I can't tell you how many like older DMS members from the original days are just like, I don't even want to deal with this anymore. Yeah, that's basically it. It's just gone on for so long that I got to the point where people saying, oh, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this. And I'm like, I'm going to do something at least, like, because the trolling has to end at some point. Like, it's not healthy for the organization to have, this sort of thing continue indefinitely.
All right. Thank you. Mark?
Yes, what Mr. Lucky seems to believe is trolling is maybe dissent, alternative points of view, certainly. And that's been a problem with me and Mr. Lacote for a while. We've had differences of points of view. And a lot of it has to do with how the organization is to be led. He has his view on how the organization is to be led, and I have my view on how the organization is to be led. And the way he seems to manage his leadership, okay, and everybody is a leader here if they are to influence the organization. You don't have to have a position of power to lead an organization. Mr. Lacote knows this. And he's decided to influence people in a way that undermines me, oftentimes in a very, very malicious way. And it's gone on for years now. Years. He's managed to ban me once over a frivolous issue. For 9 months. He wanted it to be, forever. He wanted me out of the way. He doesn't want me in this organization. I'm in his way. That's why I'm, quote, toxic, unquote, because his vision for this organization does not match my vision for this organization. Now, he's decided that the best way to proceed is through various, you can't really call it slander, because he makes a very specific distinction between slander and negative light. He spins stories and tales that have truth in it and put it and spins it in a way that makes me a villain, and he spreads those stories to others. And those other people, they listen, and they tell other people, and they tell other people, and so on, until we have a large pocket of people that end up in leadership that have no idea what happened in the past, that don't have a second side to the story, nor do they want another side to the story. They have been told that I'm a con man, and if I'm to be listened to at all, everything I say is a lie. And this has been perpetuated in large part by Andrew Licori's influence. Okay, this is all undercurrent. It's an undercurrent in the leadership, in the leadership culture of this organization. And me and Andrew Licori have been in a Cold War for 6 years. 6 years. People don't often realize it, but that's been the case. He's been manipulating people, and I've been defending myself, trying to set the record straight. That's what the YouTube videos are in part about, making sure I have a voice.
People
I'm
can
gonna
go to
give
the
you
source.
another 10 seconds or so, and then we're gonna move on.
I'm fine. I can move on.
You're good. Andrew, did you want to rebut again?
Yeah. So a lot of this stems, I guess, when he says 6 years, he's talking about the issue in 2014. Mark continues to perpetuate a complete lie about that, right? He formed a nonprofit corporation with the state of Texas, and he listed Dallas Makerspace as the registered agent. He listed the business offices as the DMS address, and he put 2 other members of the Makerspace as directors on that business. He's then gone on to Discord and said that I intimidated those 2 people to backing out, and that I torpedoed. Literally, all I did with that entire thing was we got a letter in the mail saying, "Hey, congratulations on from Secretary of State, right? Like, here's your SOS letter." And we said, "What the heck is this?" Mark was approached by those 2 members, and they said, "Dude, take us off of the directorship of this." Mark has, just as recently as like a few weeks ago, lies in Discord saying that I intimidated them, that I harassed them into leaving, and that is not the case. He's just going to continue to lie and lie about these sorts of things.
I can respond.
Yeah, go for it.
You may. 2 minutes.
Sure. Well, I mean, this is he said, she said. I've got my stories. It's not so much about them. They never came to me asking to be taken off or anything like that. All right, that was you. All right, that was you. And months later, after I found out about it, I mean, I had to piece all of this together because you weren't talking to me. We weren't having a conversation about things.
I was out of town.
Sure. I was out of town, man. I wasn't paying attention to anything. All right? But you decided to, not follow up on any of that stuff. I was trying to start a makerspace incubator, man. It was all benign. All right? It was no scam. This was for us. This was to help, our legacy as an organization. Right? This was my next step in helping the world, and you fucked it all up.
I'd like to respond.
Go ahead.
So one of the named directors on that was Romeo, and he has agreed to join the meet call if we'd like to get his side of the story, as one of the people that Mark says that I intimidated into leaving an organization that he was helping Mark build, because Romeo disputes Mark's account entirely.
Disputes your account of what I said, maybe.
No, he disputes your account directly. He has read the Discord. He's in the DMS Discord, and he directly disputes what you said in there.
Let's talk to Romeo.
Sure. Give me a minute. Let me send him the link.
Is this going to be material to how?
Yeah, because he's
violated.
Honestly,
he's lying about me.
I don't know
if it makes any difference. I mean, it's a really small inconsequential detail. I mean, the point is this kind of stuff really needs to be in the past. Now, we can talk about it if you want.
I mean,
then why did you bring it up on Discord? Because I haven't talked about that in quite a while. Why did you bother to bring it up on Discord and say that I intimidated people? That
you keep
that
bringing
I'm
it
the
up.
Antichrist. Hold on, that I'm the Antichrist, and that I'm some sort of like evil mastermind who's just been attacking you for 6 years. I don't think about you
seem
outside of like the last month.
You seem to be embellishing a whole lot about my characterization of you. Okay, I've said good things about you because you've done good things for this organization, and I've given you credit for it. Okay?
This doesn't have anything to do with the complaint.
This is you guys' history, and that's cool. But
well, so the complaint is that he's
he's
spreading lies about.
This is
about
healthy.
This might be going long, but honestly, this is healthy conversation. This is something that we haven't talked about. We need to hash this out. Okay, we need to hash this out and fix it.
Pushing each other out of the organization.
I don't disagree with you, but I'm not entirely sure this is the venue for that. We have specific complaints that we are here to address.
Sure, you guys on the time crunch?
You have a specific time that you have anything to do after the call ends?
I'm going to go ahead and shout the same thing to you that I shouted at every driver who's in my way on the freeway. By God, I've got places to go and things to do.
All right, well, I respect it.
Paul's saying he'd like to ask a question.
Happy
maybe
to
we should move on.
But I don't feel like we're making any headway as a panel that is here to discuss these complaints.
All right.
It's awesome that you guys are making up. That's great, but that's not why we're here. All right, so back to the complaint at hand, Andrew Lee. The specific complaint, I believe, is that it's a violation of code of conduct or anti-harassment policies.
Mm-hmm.
If we listen to, I'm sorry, what was the name of, forget the first name.
Romeo Espana.
Is he going to be pointed toward that?
Yeah, he said give him a second. He's jumping on. So this is historical information regarding the like basically backing up that Mark was spreading lies about me with regards to like intimidation.
Okay. He's en route?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Charles and Paul, did you guys want to jump in here about anything at all, or you want to wait for Romeo?
One thing is that this is going back 6 years. Why didn't you do something about it then? It's all on Discord, which is not the official communications channel for DMS. It's impossible to prove or disprove without more work than I'm prepared to put into it. Get over it, guys. Grow up.
It was done and settled then, and I haven't really dealt with it since then. In 2016 when he was 2016 when he was banned. I'm only bringing it up because Mark is continuing to post just these insane, rants on the DMS Discord lying about me.
All right, gang. I have Romeo with us. If we can get back on topic, Romeo is with us. Romeo, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Excellent, Romeo. You had been brought in because we're discussing the complaint that Andrew Lee. An official complaint that Mark Havens has violated our code of conduct and anti-harassment policies, and Andrew tells us that you can shed some light on how that's been done.
So I'm not really interested in getting into the DMS politics at all, or becoming involved in any specific association. To be completely honest with you guys, if someone, I jumped on Discord a couple days ago, and if someone's been speaking for me or making claims that I have been threatened or coerced into doing something, I'm more than happy to clear that up. Is there a specific claim or issue that I'm being asked to speak to? Because the only thing that I'm currently aware of right now is a previously settled issue with a nonprofit that's on the record, and I don't necessarily understand why it's being brought up. And then I saw something on Discord claiming that I had been intimidated or threatened into doing something by another DMS member, which has never occurred. So unless it's specifically along those lines, somebody help me out here.
I'm not even sure what
specifically why you were brought in was that I believe that We wanted to dispel the idea that you had been intimidated.
Could somebody
I've done that. I think Mark wants to respond.
Could somebody link or give me a quote or something of what was said, because I'm having trouble wrapping my head around Andrew's claim.
Sure. Let me go find the chat log real quick. One
or
sec.
you can just read it out?
Mark, on 5/16/2020, when I talked to Oz and Romeo, two of my best friends, by the way, they said you intimidated them and didn't want to be a part of the Makerspace incubator anymore. So you're saying that I intimidated Oz and Romeo into not wanting to be a part of the Makerspace incubator, and that is not true.
Okay, so that's a somewhat different characterization than what you said earlier. Okay. There was a lot more that you said earlier, because I inferred intimidation. Okay? In our conversations, it was obvious to me that they were intimidated. They don't want to participate in this. Romeo doesn't want to participate in this.
I wasn't necessarily consulted. Again, I really do not want to rehash.
I know. I don't either.
An old buried issue.
Romeo,
the only reason this has come up is because I'm running for board, and Andrew decided to dig it all up and post it on Talk and other places, and it's been part of the ongoing conversation. And I responded on Discord in one big old long post. Okay, and now it's part of a harassment complaint.
Okay, well, I have just going to be clear. I was never intimidated or harassed or pushed or by anybody to do anything ever in the history of the DMS.
And I understand, man. Okay, at the time, everybody seemed like they were. It's possible that you weren't. I'm sure you weren't like directly
intimidated by. Excuse me.
Again,
James.
I have enjoyed a long history with a lot of people at the DMS. I'm very careful not to get involved in our politics or to get involved in these kind of issues. So I will say that I have enjoyed a friendship with Mark Havens going in history, going back. I have enjoyed and still enjoy a friendship with Andrew Cody as a friend. If they have issues between themselves, I am here to speak only to any characterizations that are being made towards my actions or my behavior.
Thank you, Romeo. I think that clears things up for us. And as far as I'm personally concerned, you're welcome to drop off if you don't want to participate any further. Do Mark or Andrew Lee Cody or either of our other panelists have any objections to that?
I'd like to keep this in the past.
Thank you, Romeo.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, guys. If there's anything else or anybody else claims that I have said anything or done anything, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to correct the record on statements as such.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
All right. Good luck, guys.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and give Mark the floor for 2 minutes or less, and then we're going to let Andrew have the last word on this.
Okay, so let's see. I don't even know exactly what he's telling everybody I have a history of harassment. I don't have a history of harassment. He's not really that's in the complaint. He's claiming I have a history of harassment. Where? How? What?
What
You were
about
banned for 9 months?
for what? For politics?
For politics. No, for making a button. For making a button saying Alex is, basically Alex is your man, he'll ban you if he can. I got banned on that, man. Okay? Because
as someone who was involved, that's not why you were banned.
Well,
I can elaborate if you would like.
I'm sure you can. Okay, but you're not part of this complaint. All right? And you voted to have me banned. You were complicit in this action. I don't trust your judgment or you made it very clear. Andrew Lakoti orchestrated a great deal of all of this. Okay, he wants to characterize me as a harassing person. He's characterized me as a troll, certainly, and continues to characterize me as a troll to this very venue, he's characterized me as a troll. All right? Now, I've demonstrated nothing but passion and love for this organization. There's no trolling here. There's dissent. There's opinions that I'm sharing, okay, that happens to be in conflict with, you know, some of the values that Andrew Lakota holds, potentially endangering some of his foothold in this organization, certainly. And honestly, that's what I think this really is all about, is Andrew wants a legacy that he wants my legacy in this organization. If I'm not around, he wants to claim it.
All right, thank you, Mark. Andrew, we're going to give you the final word on this, I think.
I mean, I imagine that's pretty clear to everybody that this whole legacy notion is just bonkers. So I don't even know what to say anymore. Honestly, I feel like the evidence is pretty clear. I'm happy to answer any questions the panel may have, but I think Mark's actions and the evidence, I think it all speaks for itself.
Alrighty, thank you. Charles or Paul, would you guys like to jump in? If you don't have anything ready to rock and roll, let's go ahead and move on to our third.
If I may,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
you gentlemen have a long-running personal disagreement. I'm not sure disagreeing with another member is a bannable offence. So I would suggest that this isn't a matter for a disciplinary committee. You need to talk it out and get it over with. It's been going on 7 or 8, 10 years. You are unable to. This panel was established to deal with specific instances in this time, not to go rehashing the history of DMS and the personal conflicts that come from it. And that's it.
I'd like to respond to that if I could.
Go ahead.
I'm more than willing to accept an apology from Mark for all of the things that I've listed in the complaint.
Very good, thank you. Mark, would you like an equal 3 seconds?
Sure, there's no need to apologize for, you know, making your bananas, man. I will
Very good.
I will be more than happy.
to solve this in other ways, but you asking me for an apology, me giving you an apology isn't the solution to this problem. Okay? That's narcissism.
All right, we're going to have to
We're
move
going to call
on.
this particular thing is going to be closed.
Andrew?
Yes, go ahead, Paul.
The one thing I'm going to say is, who here is familiar with XKCD?
Oh, I am.
Sorry,
I
who's
would
not?
highly suggest everybody go take a look at number 1357 and think on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm not sure what that reference was.
We can look it up later, I think. All right, with that, we're going to move on to item number 3, which is from Luke Olson. Luke, thank you for being with us.
We've had another person who joined who's not part of the complaints, so I'm just curious about that.
Raphael, has Raphael been invited by someone?
I invited Rafi. Mm-hmm.
You invited Raphael?
Yes.
Good enough, James?
To what purpose?
Support and possible characterization defense. It hasn't been in transparency, yes.
Okay, that's fine. It would be appreciated if you would make us aware of this before you do it. Thank you.
Sure. Raphael, I don't know if he can hear us or not, but we're assuming that you're good with the recording in the event that you participate other than listening. So item number 3 is from Luke Olson. Again, paraphrasing, it says that Mark Havens took advantage of another member. I think the names are relevant, but if somebody else wants to throw it in, they certainly can. In a way that's indefensible, basically he's claimed to be political solidarity and used their likeness on a campaign website. Aside from the anguish and stress that it caused this member, it led other people to distrust said member. Furthermore, this was not the first time that Mr. Havens has taken advantage of others, et cetera, et cetera. And again, the possible fallout from this is not part of this discussion. Does that seem reasonably fair?
Quick point of order. We had somebody else just join, Ben Barker. Was somebody else invited in?
Ben Bank?
Yes.
Whose name I'm sure I'm mispronouncing?
Same here.
Was Ben invited? Nobody wants to speak up for having invited Ben?
I didn't.
I'm sorry, I invited Ben. I was on mute.
Once again, it would be appreciated if you would tell us before you do so.
I'm sorry, I invited them earlier. Invited lots of people earlier. They're just joining now.
If you're going to do that,
okay,
it would be appreciated that we know about it.
I'm telling you now, okay, because I've been, you've asked me for the first time.
Who else have you invited?
I don't recall. It was a number of people.
I don't appreciate that. I really do not appreciate that. This was a specific call. You can start inviting people. It's allowable, but we should be told.
Okay, so I invited a number of people for transparency purposes, and they may be joining as we go.
What specific transparency purposes? Give me specifics. Exactly what do you want out of these people? I
need people to basically be able to validate that this is an unaltered video and that everything that happened is, like, actually happened.
Was that a point of contention anywhere in any of these complaints?
I'm not sure what you're asking. Could you clarify?
Was there ever... Sorry, Andrew.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just thinking, Nicole, she brought me a drink.
No, sorry, I meant Mr. Spencer.
Oh.
So we're ready to rock and roll? Luke, are you okay with giving Mark the first word since he's already unmuted, or would you prefer to have the first word as we've been doing with the other complaints?
I'll yield to Luke.
No preference. If you all have read the emails, then you have all the information.
I'll yield to Luke.
If he wants to discuss something first.
Okay, Luke contends that we've read the emails that are the postings that he put on Talk, and that's pretty much his argument. I agree. I think we've read those, and if there's no new information to add to that, then I think that we've all read that already. Mark, I'll give you a couple of minutes to respond, if you like.
I know there was a lot of hearsay going on, but I did read that Luke said that I was, I didn't have permission to put it on the website. Now I can understand Luke, because I haven't talked to Luke. Luke's really hard to get a hold of. The only time I talked to Luke was when he contacted me right before the Meet the Candidates thing, and he told me he was wanting to drop out. Actually, he put me, I think somebody put me through a three-way. Kevin put me on a three-way call. I don't even have his number. Put me on a three-way, and I talked him out of it. He was going to drop out. I talked him out of it, and he went on to do the Meet the Candidates thing. And I guess somebody thought, we got a lot of people working on the Blue Tape campaign, and I'm not involved in the website stuff. You could, I got my hands full with the YouTube videos and stuff like that. I'm not a one-man show, so apparently there was some miscommunication about Kevin, because Kevin, I believe, signed off on joining Blue Tape, and Luke either didn't speak up or didn't talk or whatever. And Luke mentioned in that thread that was conveniently left out, he mentioned that when people asked him to file a complaint against me, he said that would be disingenuous. Okay, Luke said in that thread that it would be disingenuous to file a complaint against me. But apparently it's not disingenuous for Luke Olson, who had nothing to do with the situation whatsoever, who's a third party, not even, he's a spectator. Luke Olson is a spectator on a thread who's not involved at all, except for the fact that we have history, and he's voted to have me banned for 9 months in the past. And we've had a great deal of conflict on Talk due to our political views. This is politics, guys. This is all about me running and happened to be winning an election for the board seat of Dallas Makerspace. This came out after, you know, when things heated up and people started seeing that I was actually making a difference with the things and ideas that I say, okay? The things that are coming out of my mouth, people are listening to finally. I'm undoing all the damage that's been done to my reputation over the last 6 years. And I think it's going to make a difference. I'm actually making a difference. This is why these complaints exist. It's because they don't want me to be on the board. And this is a last ditch effort to make that happen. It's grasping at straws. It's wishful thinking. It's desperation, because they don't know what's going to happen when I get on the board. They think I'm going to go after them. No. Now, what I'm going to do is what I put in my SOI and bring everybody together, even Andrew Lacote, okay, because he wants to lead. You see it all the time. He wants to lead this organization. I want him to participate in it. I want him to be part of the conversation. He's part of the leadership culture of this organization. He has value to this organization. Okay? No one's trying to push him out. I'm not trying to push him out. I'm not going to ban him, nor Luke. They bring value to this group, to these group of nerds that are trying to pretending like they know. Everybody knows what. We don't know what we're doing. This is new. We're the largest makerspace. You know, we got more members than any other. Even now that the COVID hit, we got more people now than ever. You know, I mean, not it's down, but we still got more people than everybody else. We're going to move forward. We're going to move forward right, and we're not going to ban each other anymore. I'm tired of that. That's going to stop.
All right. We're going to call that quits, if that's okay. Luke, we took about 4 minutes on Mark. You're entitled to those 4 minutes, I think, if you want them.
Sure. I'm posting a YouTube link on the right side. About an hour ago, Mark posted a video with morebluetape.org embedded in the video. So claiming that he doesn't really know what's going on with the website or he's not really that involved, I think that's dishonest.
Luke, you have no idea what happens in my campaign group.
Apparently you don't either.
Sometimes I don't. I'm not a micromanager. I let my people do their thing.
Okay.
That's something really I'm going to be teaching people.
You know,
when I get voted in.
May I talk?
You're welcome to talk.
Okay. You brought up civility and excellence earlier during the first complaint. Was it appropriate for Luke to be on that website? Was it civil? Was it excellent?
Was it civil or excellent? It was an accident.
Okay.
Okay. You know, if I hit somebody with a car accidentally, is that civil? No, it's an accident.
Have you apologized to him?
I haven't been able to talk to him or get in touch with him at all.
Okay, so you haven't.
I haven't been able to talk to him at all for months. I spent 2 months trying to get in touch with him, and the one time I was able to get in touch with him, one time, was right before the Meet the Candidates thing, and that was through Kevin. He doesn't want to get involved in this. He wants it to end. He doesn't want this to perpetuate. You're making it perpetuate, and you're a spectator, man.
I think Mark, his actions and the emails that I already sent speak for themselves. I don't really have anything else to add to this.
May I make a comment?
Yes, Charles, please go ahead.
I was particularly offended by the fact that you made a complaint about my neighbors hurting somebody else's feelings. It's none of your business. Nobody will desist from you if you're allowed to file complaints based on your feelings of other people's relationships. I also communicated with Luke understanding, and he did not ask you to represent him in this matter. You stuck your nose in somebody else's business and nobody is safe from you. I was considering seeing if the board was thanking you to give me some time out. Uncomplete hubris. Thank you.
I think you are ill-informed, and I think that it is up to members to watch out for one another, because just because one member doesn't seem worthy of a complaint, Mark's actions misled other members. It's not that he was just involved with one member. It was on public display that misled other members, and it affects the credibility of our elections. I disagree. I disagree.
I'd like to speak to that if I could.
Please do.
So the code of conduct states that it's the responsibility of each member to help enforce the code of conduct, and that if someone is violating it, you should explain to them why the behavior is not acceptable, and that egregious violations should be reported to a director or the officers. It doesn't say that it has to be a direct offense against you or anything like that. We're all responsible for trying to help keep everybody else following the code of conduct and being civil and treating everybody else with respect.
I'm sorry, is Andrew part of a panel, or is he?
I asked Mark to speak. I asked Andrew to speak. I'm sorry.
All right.
And Andrew is absolutely right, and that is why I filed the complaint. Whether or not my feelings were directly hurt is irrelevant. It caused damage to the other people in the organization, and we should be watching out for one another, including misleading other members.
Now, have you spoken to Luke at all, Luke Olson, about your intentions to file a complaint against me?
I did not mention my intentions to file a complaint. I have spoken to him, though.
Okay, so you've spoken to him at some point in the past about something unrelated to this issue. Okay.
No, I've spoken to him specifically about this issue, but I did not inform him of my intentions to file a complaint.
I see. So you have a great deal of insight as to what he wants in terms of.
I am not here representing Luke and.
Really, because it seems like you are.
I mean,
no, I'm not.
It seems like you absolutely are representing him and providing, insight as to why we should ban Mark Havens for all the egregiousness that I inflicted upon.
It's not just this other person that you. One member. It's the misleading of other members.
I see. What misleading are you talking about? The fact that.
It was linked to in the complaint.
Okay, so there was a person that was accidentally posted on a website that I promote. Okay, I don't edit it or make changes or whatever. Okay, that I promote because we have kind of a loose ragtag team right now of members. All right, no formal structure or anything like that. It's more of a confederation. Okay. And I promote Blue Tape. I don't even have all the same views as Blue Tape, but I promote Blue Tape.
So your defense is diffusion of responsibility.
There's
too many people involved, so we just can't worry about it. We can't.
My defense is that you're after the wrong guy, and if you over an accident that occurred, okay, nobody had any malicious intent here. The as soon as that post went up, I think somebody took it down. Somebody took his likeness down. That was enough for Luke. And as far as I could tell, Luke quit. He wanted to quit before. He wanted to quit before to meet the candidates. I talked him out of it. He wanted to quit because of all the contention. He wanted to quit because of all of the hate mongering on Talk, all the crap that was hurled on Talk, all of the slander. That the defamation of character, okay, all of the crap about everything. I mean, just made up garbage that was going on, and he wants to be friends with people, and he can't handle it. I told him that. I told him that we can be in the front lines. He can be in the background. Okay, we don't have to be on have the same role in a campaign, and he agreed. All right. But let me tell you, nobody here had any malicious intent. Shit happens, and what we expect to happen is not all this malicious abuse of process and attacking
people that are running the board.
Andrew, can we please put a cap on the amount of time any person can talk? Anybody.
Yes.
Yes. I was going to give Mr. Havens another 30 seconds on the 4-minute block that he started.
Oh, can I have some of the time that Paul took away by interrupting me?
I'm going to say no, since we've already let you run over a couple times.
I'm fine. I don't need any more time, actually, so I'll yield.
Okay.
Again, may I speak? Does Mr. Olson have any concept of how condescending and patronizing it is to intervene on behalf of a grown man who can make his own complaint? Also, I happen to know that Luke Andretti and Kevin Patel have a relationship in the machine shop, and it is far more likely that if Andretti's likeness and what have you were put on the website without his consent, it would be done by Mr. Patel and not by Mr. Havens.
Are you suggesting that the complaint should be filed against Kevin instead of Mark?
I don't care what you do. I would prefer you not do it at all, because I find it condescending that you feel that he's too stupid to file his own complaint.
I never said anything about his intelligence. That is your own words. So, if I understand correctly, do you think DMS is better off in the future with or without actions like what happened? With this candidate being placed onto the website without his consent and being associated with their campaign, do you think DMS is better off with or without that kind of behavior?
I think it's better off without you filing complaints on other people's behalf.
Okay, you're okay, got it. I have nothing else to add.
Excellent. Thank you, Charles, for making your point. Thank you, Luke, for listening to it. Paul, did you have anything that you wanted to weigh in on in this?
It's sounding like this is an interpretation of the conduct on whether it's an individual should be doing it or another one. I'm seeing an argument on either side, and it's going to be a matter of interpretation. So we'll have to decide how we want to do that as the panel, but I'm seeing both sides of the argument. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that brings us to a close on the discussion portion. I'm not entirely clear on how Charles and Paul and myself would convene to discuss what we've listened to.
There's one thing I'd like to add. Sorry, I just pasted it into the chat details. This is from Luke Andretti's post about withdrawal. He specifically calls out Mark, saying, I did not give you permission to use my name, license, image, etc. for the website, media, or other releases. There are laws in Texas against use of people's likeness. That is, I think, relevant. We have in writing from Mr. Andretti that he did not give Mark, who claims he had no involvement in this, permission.
And yes, sir, that was also posted as part of the talk discussion on that, so we have seen that.
I can respond. It is very true. He did not give me any consent to using his likeness. I don't think that's in dispute. I'm sorry, but but that's not the whole picture. Okay.
I think we understand.
He's unaware because we haven't had a whole lot of involvement. Okay. He is unaware of how I run my campaign team. All right. And assumes because I'm the only person he's ever talked to. He hasn't talked to my web guys. All right. He hasn't talked to my computer people, my tech people. All right. He doesn't know what's going on. They take a lot of initiative. All right. It was removed. We can talk to him. We can apologize for it. I'll apologize personally on behalf of everyone. Okay. But the problem is, he's not asking for an apology. I'd much rather just talk to him, one-on-one if I can get a hold of him. But we don't need Mr. Austin, making things worse.
I'm following our code of conduct. Okay, as Andrew already explained.
You're distorting.
You're distorting the code of conduct. You're abusing the code of conduct.
Okay, so get elected and change it. As for now, I'm going by the code of conduct, and I'm somewhat shocked at what Charles said.
All right, fair enough, guys. I think we understand what's going on here. I think that I think we understand Charles's point. I think we understand Mark's point. I think we understand Luke's point. I think the thing for us to do at this point is to call a short recess for Mr. Proctor,
Andrew?
Mr. Wilson, and myself to deliberate and then decide what we're doing here. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Andrew, if I may. Mark, just to rebut something you said, I'm going to use an analogy you specifically brought up. Accidental car crash. You accidentally put him on the website. Accidental car crash, you can still be prosecuted and convicted. Accidentally putting something on a website, you could still be held responsible.
All right, well, you're going to have to go after the right guy. If you want to prosecute
me
You are part of the organization.
Yep, I'm part of the organization. Do you think I'm the leader of the organization? Is that what you're characterizing me as? I'm at the top. I'm the one
I did not
responsible
say
for all
that.
of it?
I said you were part of the organization.
Okay,
Do not
so-
put words in my mouth.
So there's about 20 of us, okay? Would you like a list so that you can ban them all?
No, I did not request that. I am just rebutting the
Well, that's-
argument that you made using your analogy.
Well, that's fine. There's a hole in your argument.
Okay,
The
you're
lack
going,
of an apology.
You're going after me. I didn't even know about the website until after it was posted on Meet the Candidates. I mean, I knew about the website, and we were developing the website. I didn't know it was going to be released.
Mark, I'm bringing it up because the complaint was made against you. That is what this is about. You used an argument. I'm using that same argument against you and pointing out a fallacy in your argument.
And I'm pointing out a fallacy in yours.
That's fine. Sorry, Andrew, back to you.
Oh, yes, sir. I think we're all good here. I don't feel like we're going over anything new at this point. So I think the proper thing for us to do is to call this meeting a close. I think Charles and yourself and I need to make sure that all our ducks are in a row and then give the board what it is that we're here to give the board. Does anybody have any objections to that?
What's the actual process? You guys going to discuss this on talk, or are you going to do this on a video, or is this just going to be passed to the board?
As far as I know at this point, we'll just pass the statement to the board.
Okay.
Probably, I'm guessing, I actually hadn't thought that far ahead, that we'll probably pass it back through the same talk thread that the complaints were disseminated to all of us on.
All right. I guess we're all learning as we go.
Charles, despite my disagreement with you, I do appreciate all of your time. I realize that your Sunday afternoon is not free. So, thank you.
That isn't an issue. It's just that if you ever file a formal complaint about somebody I have a disagreement with in my name, we will have a very serious discussion indeed.
It is not in his name. So, please read the complaint again.
The injured party
Okay.
is Lieutenant, and you filed a complaint on his behalf, essentially.
I don't want to take up any more of y'all's time, but I appreciate your time.
Okay. I think we're going to call this meeting to a close, gang, and I'm presuming that within 24 hours, what we have talked about will result in something being submitted to the board and posted to the talk thread, if nowhere else. Does that sound good?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.